Hey guys, what is up, and I welcome each and every one of you to a new League of Legends video. Today we'll be going over the biggest changes coming to next patch 8.18. And apologies if my voice sounds a little bit different because I am still a little bit sick. Now, as usual, this video will be made in collaboration with ProGuides. It's a website that helps to try and improve your overall League of Legends gameplay and knowledge. Something I could probably use some help with myself. They also have a YouTube channel dedicated to this also, so make sure to check that out as well. Alright guys, so the first thing that I want to talk about in this video is going to be a new trailer that just came out. It's titled Welcome Aboard Odyssey Animated Trailer, and it's a follow-up to a teaser that Ryze released over the weekend. Now this is showing us a bunch of new things coming to League of Legends, for instance a few new skins, which Ryze did announce what they are going to be. We have a new legendary skin coming for Kayn, we have epic skins coming for Jinx, Yasuo, Sona, Malphite, and Ziggs. And on top of this, we're also getting the return of the PvE game mode Odyssey Extraction. So we already saw the new Jinx and Malphite skin in the teaser, and here you have Yasuo kind of chilling in his own room, and Jinx throws a little kind of test dummy at him and he just slashes it all down. The sword looks pretty cool, but the skin for Yasuo looks really cool as well, even though it seems to be fairly similar to Project Yasuo. And in this part of the trailer, you can see that they're essentially fighting the new mobs that'll come out in the new game mode that's also going to be coming out in just a few days, because Ryze did state, and this is kind of surprising because they don't usually do this, all of these skins, this game mode, and all this good stuff will come out on September the 12th with patch 8.18. So essentially they skipped the whole PvE phase, showing it, releasing it, testing it, and went straight to the live service, which again doesn't happen very often. In this part of the trailer, you can see the new skin coming out for Kayn. Again, it is going to be a legendary skin, so I'm going to be very excited to see how he looks in all his different forms. And then we also have a quick showing here of what I'm assuming is going to be the new Sona skin, or maybe the new champion, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be Sona. But let's get into the balance changes, with the first champion we'll be talking about being Aatrox, and to my personal surprise, Aatrox is actually receiving some buffs. The first one is going to be towards his E ability Umbral Dash. The heal has been increased to being the same at level 1, but as you rank it up by level 5, it's a 5% increase. And on top of this, his ultimate World Ender, the AD has also been increased at ranks 2 and ranks 3. Now, I don't know why Ryze is buffing Aatrox. I actually think Aatrox is perfectly fine the way he is, in fact even maybe a little bit strong. And the way the new Aatrox works is if he's ever too strong, I mean the champion is just easily a pick or ban champion and he'll demolish almost any other champion in lane. In my opinion, a little bit of a questionable buff coming over from Riot. Next up, we have a quick nerf coming over to Akali, and it's going to be towards her ultimate Perfect Execution. The damage on this ability has been lowered by 20 at rank 1, 30 by rank 2, and 40 damage by rank 3. Now this is obviously not coming as a surprise to me personally. I mean, Akali has been quite damn strong recently. Even though her overall win rate is only sitting around a 45% win rate, the champion was without question very powerful. Now these nerfs are not going to completely gut the champion, which of course is a very good thing, but it'll definitely give her kind of a slap on the wrist or two, bring her down a couple of notches, but if played correctly, Akali should still be quite a deadly champion. Next up, a very quick nerf coming over to Mr. Brahma, but one that I think has more impact than it may initially seem. His base HP has been lowered from 576 to 540, so almost a flat 40 reduction in his base HP. This is actually quite a bit. Now, Brahma is considered to be a very good support at the very moment. He brings a lot of utility, brings a lot of great appeal to his support, and overall is just a fantastic champion if played correctly. But the biggest issue with him was the fact that he's able to tank so much damage and be so difficult to get past that he became a little bit too overwhelming, and this nerf is going to bring him down in the laning phase by a decent amount, because now he won't able to just freely go in front, tank all the damage, and not really worry about it too much, because now with this nerf he'll actually have to think a bit more as to whether or not he can actually take all that damage without dying. Following this, we also have a buff coming over to Lucian. Now, this one is not a final buff. By the time it goes to the live service, it may be a little bit different, and maybe even other things may get buffed as well, but at the moment, this is what we have. It's going to be towards his Q Piercing Light, where the AD ratio has been increased as you rank it up to where by the time you get it to rank 5, it is a 20% base AD ratio or percent increase. This is also a little bit on the questionable side, because I think Lucian is in a perfectly fine position. I've seen plenty of Lucians pop off and just completely carry games. This champion is known to be very powerful early and especially mid game, so I'm not entirely sure why Ryze thinks he needs a buff, other than the fact that the new sexy skin just came out, and of course retail wants that extra cash money, so they want to buff him, more people buy the skin, and it's a win-win scenario for Riot Games. But that's pretty much the only thing I can think of in terms of why Ryze would want to buff Lucian whatsoever. Next up, we have a buff coming over to Renekton, and it's going to be towards his E ability, Slice and Dice. The armor reduction in this ability has been increased at the earlier ranks of the ability, but by the time you get it to rank 5, it evens out to 35%, and the damage has overall been increased as well by 10 at every single rank. Now this is also somewhat of a questionable one. I mean, whether or not Renekton deserves buffs is definitely up in the air. I've seen Renektons get completely destroyed in lane, but I've also seen Renektons completely destroy lane, and it's completely 1v9 a game. But what we know for sure is the fact that these buffs will make Renekton's E ability most likely a 1-point wonder, since now you get a 10% increase in armor reduction at rank 1, which is a lot. Which in turn will also make Renekton's already quite powerful laning phase even more powerful, so don't be surprised if you're a top lane main and you suddenly see a lot more Renektons just destroying your face. Next up, we have a quick yet impactful nerf coming over to Ryze, more specifically towards his W, where the root duration when combined with his E ability, which increases the duration, it overall has been lowered from 2 seconds to only 1.5 seconds. This is actually quite a big nerf because one of Ryze's most basic combos that also is quite strong is you obviously use his E ability combined with his W, force the 2-second root, and then that essentially gives you a free full unleash of your combo, and there's literally nothing you can do about that in the earlier parts of the game where you don't have maybe Merc Boots or even a QSS or something of the sort. This also makes ganks for Ryze extremely overpowered because all he has to do is flash EW and they're standing there for 2 seconds. They're both not even skill shots, just targeted abilities, and it's just overall way too oppressive and way too easy to do, so this is definitely a good nerf. But a nerf that might be a little bit on the questionable side is the next one coming over to Sejuani, where her E ability Permafrost, the damage has just been overall lowered by 10, and then you have her ultimate Glacial Prison, where the Ice Storm slow duration has been lowered from 3 seconds all the way down to just 1 second. The reason I say this is a questionable nerf is because in solo queue at least, you don't really see Sejuani that often. I mean, you'll see her here and there, but it's not that often, and when you do see her, again, it's not anything just completely oppressive. She's just kind of there, just barely holding her own, and the fact that Riot wants to nerf her even further essentially means that you probably will not be seeing any Sejuani in solo queue for quite some time. Now, whether or not they're doing this because they don't want to see Sejuani at Worlds too often is obviously up in the air, but this is definitely one of the more questionable nerfs this patch. So rip to Sejuani one-trick ponies. Coming up next, we have an overall nerf coming to Trundle, starting off with his E ability Pillar of Ice. The cooldown on this ability has been increased by 2 seconds at every single rank, and the slow has been changed as well to being much less at the earlier ranks, but it ramps up much quicker, so by rank 5, it's actually a 5% increase. But this is quite a big nerf because most Trundles actually max their Pillar last. So if you actually max your Pillar last still, you're going to be losing 15% slow on this ability for pretty much the majority of the game, which obviously can be quite bad in many situations. So if you play Trundle, maybe maxing his Pillar second might be a bit more beneficial now than maxing it last, because again, 15% only is pretty damn bad. Following this, we have a quick buff coming over to Vayne, more specifically towards her Q ability, Tumble, where the cooldown of this ability has been lowered by a total of 2 seconds at rank 1. But as you keep leveling it up, it actually evens out at 2 seconds by rank 5. So what this means is not only will Vayne just have a better laning phase since she will have a 2-second lower cooldown on her Tumble by rank 1, this also means that maybe you can even just max her W first. But regardless of which path you choose, I mean, Vayne will just overall have a definite buff towards her laning phase, which is probably the most difficult part for her within a game of League of Legends. But the question is this enough to bring Vayne back into the meta? Currently, I don't think it is, because there's just too many other AD carries that are just way too powerful, for instance Kai'Sa, Lucian, and many others as well. And the final changes coming out this patch is going to be towards Victor. Now, there's a name that I'm sure a lot of people have not heard in quite some time. Victor has always been one of those mid laners where he's either just extremely overpowered or he's just not strong enough, so you pretty much never see him. But the buff to him this patch is as follows. It's going to be towards his passive, Glorious Evolution. The amount of gold required to upgrade to his Hex Core MK1 has been lowered by 100, but when you upgrade to the perfect Hex Core, it's actually been increased by 100. So in other words, the total cost to finish your perfect Hex Core overall is still the exact same. However, to get the earlier power spike from your Hex Core MK1, 7k1, it's gonna be happening a little bit quicker, so the victor will be stronger at the earlier parts of the game, which at the moment are more important. So this will actually give Victor an overall buff in my opinion. This will make his laning phase a little bit more oppressive as well, since he can now upgrade to this just that much faster. And I do think all in all this is going to be a decent buff for the Victor, so don't be surprised if we start seeing this champion in the mid lane a little bit more frequently. But that right there, guys, is going to be it for this patch. There you have it. Not the biggest patch in the entire world, but definitely some pretty big changes regardless that will most likely make a decent impact. Again, I think the Aatrox buffs are a little too much. I think the Lucian buffs are a little bit much as well. The Renekton buffs a little bit over the top as well. And Victor may finally have his reappearance in the mid lane. On top of this, we have champions like Sejuani that are probably just never going to see any play whatsoever. And hopefully laning against a Ryze won't be as frustrating anymore. And of course, we also have the new teaser that just came out, again showing Jinx, maybe a new skin for her, maybe it's a teaser for something else entirely, not entirely sure, but definitely let me know down in the comments below what you believe it is. But either way, guys, thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, then definitely hit that like button, share with your friends so everyone else is ready to know what's coming into the next patch. But thank you all so much for watching and hope to see you for the next video. Peace.